Mercedes' struggles this season have been evident to anyone who has watched the team. But in Barcelona, the porpoising was mostly gone, and word from the Mercedes team was that they had it figured out. Or do they? Let's have a bit of a closer look. You've all heard of Mercedes' problems by this point. Their car has been bouncing its way around circuits for 3 months now. There were times this season when Mercedes were genuinely considering writing off the car and starting fresh next year. It was insane for a team which had won 8 straight Constructors' Championships to be in that position. Of course, it was never going to last though. There's a reason Red Bull have been trying to poach their staff members. They have some of the best engineers in the sport on their team. That kind of brainpower was always going to come up with a solution eventually. It's been the focus of their whole season so far. The team had tried to develop the car around the problem, but team principal Toto Wolff had pointed out the problem with that plan. Any changes they made would just invalidate data they'd previously collected. And while the car might gain a small amount of lap time with any changes they did make, they knew that they could make a big leap in performance if they could just engineer the bouncing out of the car. The team feel they now understand the porpoising issue, which until Barcelona had forced the car to be run far from its optimum rear ride height, limiting its downforce. A major upgrade of the floor was fitted to the car for their 100-kilometer filming day at Paul Ricard prior to heading for Spain. No one has managed to spot the underside of the car yet, but we can only assume they made huge changes to the Venturi tunnels under there. What can be seen from the outside is the addition of an adjustable flap on the edge of the floor towards the rear of the car. You can also see that the expansion of the Venturi tunnel that happens after the compression section happens much quicker than on the previous floor. What this means is that the air that passes through the compression section of the Venturi tunnel now has much more space to flow into. As the car was lowering on its suspension at high speeds, the space for the air to move into was becoming too small, causing the flow to stall and the car to bounce. With more space for the air to flow into, that appears to not be a problem anymore, and the car has stopped porpoising. A big step for Mercedes was the Miami Friday practice, where the team weren't bouncing and consequently were lightning quick. That pace didn't transfer into Saturday or Sunday, unfortunately, but they took the data from that practice session, learned from it, and made the necessary changes to solve the problem. Mercedes technical director Mike Elliott spoke about the changes they'd made after the Barcelona GP. The package we brought here, we're definitely able to run the car in a position much more close to where we'd ideally run it, said Elliott. So there's a chunk of downforce that comes from that, and the car is just a lot more settled. The drivers look happy now. There's the sort of body language is coming from them that says that they feel a car that feels a bit more like a race car. While Elliott sounds positive, Mercedes do need to be careful. They may not have been bouncing on the straights anymore, but the drivers still noted that there was a little bit of bouncing through some of the higher speed corners in Barcelona. Hamilton said, "We still have some bouncing in turn 3 and turn 9, so we've still got some porpoising, but the car is going in the right direction." The team actually experienced the least vertical G-force of any team in Barcelona, meaning they were porpoising less than any other team on the grid. Despite this, the team knows that they can't get ahead of themselves. Just because they've had one good race does not mean that they're going to be set to compete at the front in every race. The team's motorsport strategy director, James Vowles, expressed as much after the race. "We've had one race out of 6 where the car has been well behaved," he said in the post-race debrief on Mercedes' YouTube channel. "It was a car that really was a proper racing car for once. We could set it up, we could tune it, we could play around with the settings, and it would respond in a way that was predictable. And the same couldn't be said for the car we had for the first 5 races of the season. However, we have to temper our expectations. It's one track, and a track that has suited our car for many years prior to this one. There's a lot to understand and learn." While the team is being cautious to get expectations up, the fact that they've been able to solve it at one race is encouraging. They can take the data from Barcelona, look at what worked for them, and start developing the car. For Mercedes, that's going to be the most important thing. In terms of the development race, they're basically starting 6 races behind their main rivals Red Bull and Ferrari. Both teams have been able to develop their cars while Mercedes have been fixing the porpoising. James continued explaining why the team are being cautious, but what fixing the porpoising means. "I think it would be wrong to say the porpoising issue has disappeared," he said. "I think you still see it on our competitors, and I'm sure there will be elements of it coming back as we build on our understanding and the foundations we laid down in Barcelona. What I can say is we made a definitive step. A step in our understanding and the development of what we put on the track. And we can build on that, and the same could not be said about the first 5 races with the car we had there. We'll move forward from where we are now, but it will be a journey. It won't happen overnight. And we've got difficult tracks coming up. We've got Monaco and Baku, which will throw up their own challenges and surprises. The difference now, though, is we have a car that's within touching distance of the front, and a car we can fight for a championship with. Mercedes' race pace in Barcelona shows just how fast the team were. Hamilton's mean lap time was just 0.33 seconds slower than Max Verstappen, the eventual winner. It is important to remember that Hamilton did that while fighting through back markers and the midfield. Russell was only 0.183 seconds a lap slower than Hamilton as well. Both of them were quicker than the Ferraris also. It was incredibly close, but they were still quicker. So what does this mean for Mercedes going forwards? Well, they're now in a position where they can start to develop their car. Hopefully, the team will already have some ideas for things they can look to upgrade. 0.3 seconds is a lot of time to catch up though, especially when Red Bull will be upgrading their car at the same time as well. The Barcelona performance was enough to get Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff very excited about what the rest of the season could look like for the team. I've seen a race car today that reminded me of the race cars of previous seasons, when you are 30 plus seconds behind the whole field and you come all the way to the front and near the podium, Wolff told the media. That's very encouraging and shows we've made another step. Can we fight for the World Championship? Yeah, we bet we can. But we just need to have a car that's able to finish first and second, and I think we have reasons to believe we can get there. He might have been confident about the team's chances for the season, but Monaco might be a different story. Monaco is a notoriously slow track. The twisting streets of Monte Carlo don't exactly lend themselves to high-speed driving and full throttle cornering. We can actually take a decent guess at how Mercedes will perform based on how they did through the third sector of the Barcelona Grand Prix. Corners 13, 14 and 15 at the Catalan circuit are especially similar to what the team will be facing in Monaco. In the third sector of the race in Spain, Mercedes only managed the 5th fastest time of a team through that sector. Ferrari, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo and Haas all managed a faster time through there, and could be serious competition for the Silver Arrows in Monaco. There is such a short amount of time between Spain and Monaco that the team might struggle to analyse the data from Barcelona and apply it to the Monte Carlo street circuit before qualifying on the Saturday. If there is a team that can pull it off though, it probably is Mercedes. Like we said earlier, they have some incredible minds at the team who will be devoting their week to squeezing every thousandth of a second of speed out of the W13. Whether they're able to benefit from the now stable car in Monaco or not remains to be seen. What they can do is start planning ahead, simulating upgrades, making changes, and making a plan for how they'll dethrone Max Verstappen from the top of the Drivers' Championship. Do you think Mercedes are now in a position to challenge for the title? Or is one good race too much to get excited about? Let us know in the comments section down below. Until we see you next time, drive safe and bye-bye.